on a cloudy and cool morning, although it's going to be really warm by this afternoon. Welcome into the bullpen. It's a Bull and Fox edition on a Thursday morning. Dustin, how you doing today? What's going on?
Oh, not too much, Adam. Looking forward to this warm up today. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
like in the mid 70s potentially down here in Akron, Cleveland.
Yeah, up here
I'm not sure
too.
exactly what it's supposed to be up near you, but man, the weather yesterday got so cold yesterday, and the rain, like it was nice a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's funny. Since my surgery, not I can't say it's because I've lost a good amount of weight, but it's not like I'm thin. But ever since my surgery, I get more cold briefly. I don't know why that is. I usually sleep. I'll take everybody behind the scenes because I'm sure they want to hear this. Usually I sleep in just boxers. I don't wear anything else to sleep. But last night I was wearing a T-shirt because I was cold, which I'm never cold in bed.
I got to tell you, I don't know if it's because when you like lose weight, you're like losing your blubber or something. But like I'm very skinny right now.
Yeah.
And I get so cold. I've got like no meat on my bones.
I know, but I still got plenty of meat on my bones. I can understand when I lose all the weight I want to lose.
I'm just going to be curious when you lose like 100 and some pounds, 200 pounds, whatever you end up losing, like what are you going to be feeling like? Because I sometimes sleep in like sweatpants now.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
I used to sleep in my underwear and shirtless too. But no, I wear a shirt now.
I know. Maybe it's age and I don't know.
Maybe so. I don't know. Dude, as we get older, I don't know about how you feel about this, but most of these shows we do remote. I could be doing this from Florida, like right now. No problem. Easily. I mean, I was down there for a week, a few days ago, and man.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll get there.
But the problem is too, even most people like that are not from Florida that live down there, they don't want to be there in the summer.
I don't want to be there in the summer either. I want to come back to Ohio in the summer.
Right. That's what a lot of people do. When
Ohio's
they're
the best in the summer.
Yeah, exactly. It is amazing. All right, lot to get to today, so let's jump into it. As always, we got a bonus bet for you if you're getting into the swing of baseball season. We're 1 week in. Bet Rivers and the Bullpen are giving you a bonus bet to give you a practice swing. Bettors in Ohio can get a $10 bonus bet to use on baseball when they enter the code ATB316 in the Bet Rivers app. If you don't have the app, download it. If you have the app, make sure you use the code and take advantage of this great deal. That code again is ATB316. Offer ends April 12th. Must be 21 and in Ohio. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-589-9966. This is the time of year, Dustin, when all the mock drafts are coming out. Remember, the draft is 3 weeks from today. It gets underway. And just this morning, Mel Kiper Jr., Matt Miller, Jordan Reed, and Field Yates did a combined 3-round mock draft where they alternated making the selections. So I thought we'd take a look at it this morning, especially in the first round, because it was interesting. Matt Miller actually had the pick for the Browns at 6. The first 5 picks off the board on this draft were Fernando Mendoza, Arvell Reese, Francis Mayoga, David Bailey, and Jeremiah Love off the board. So all the wide receivers and all but one of the offensive linemen are available, and Matt Miller took Mekhi Lemon over Carnell Tate. Now, earlier in the draft process, it seemed like Carnell Tate and Tyson were the two wide receivers most likely to go first, but there's been some buzz for Mekhi Lemon, and what Matt Miller writes is, my top-ranked wide receiver in the class goes to the Browns, who are undergoing a youth movement at the skill positions. Lemon can create space for himself and knows how to vary his routes. Obviously, you know Carnell Tate very well. He goes 11 to Miami. I don't know how well you know Mekhi Lemon at a USC, but would you be surprised if he were the pick over Carnell Tate if the Browns go wide receiver at 6?
I mean, if Carnell Tate's on the board and they don't take him, I would be surprised. And the reason being is like let's just go off the track record of receivers coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like these guys are ready to play. If you're productive and you played for Brian Hartline and you started for Ohio State, there's a good chance, not even a good chance, there's a great chance that at worst, you're going to be a solid starting NFL receiver. At worst.
Yep.
At best, a legit number one, maybe top 10 receiver in the league.
Do you think that some people would argue, and I'm not sure how I feel about this because I've used the same argument you have, so I'm kind of more in your camp. But the argument is that people are making too big a deal of the Ohio State wide receiver thing, and that just because all these others have been good doesn't guarantee success for the wide receivers coming out this year. Are you buying that or no?
I think that there's certainly maybe something to that,
right?
And look, if you don't want Carnell Tate, that's your argument, and I get it, and I totally understand it. And maybe you're just going to say we have our scarlet and gray glasses on, but you know me as well as anybody, and you've worked with me for 15 years, and you know that I don't roll that way. Like I literally, there's been Ohio State guys that I'm like, nah, whatever. I'm not a homer, you know what I mean? Like some people, and times, but I love you, brother. But you know what I'm saying? That's not the case for me. I think that there's obviously upside with both these players, but like, I guess it would be telling if they don't take him and he's there because he's an hour and a half down the road. They could do all the extra interviews or whatever they want to do, their due diligence on this player to find out what he is because he's so close in terms of proximity. So if he's available and they don't take him, I think it would be telling. And I'd be curious to see how it would play out then over the next 5 years.
Let's look at all the wide receivers drafted out of Ohio State in the last 5 years, right? This past year, Emeka Egbuka was tremendous as a rookie. I know he cooled off in the second half, but the whole team did. Baker didn't play well in the second half. But overall, I'd say that was a hit with the 19th pick. In 2024, Marvin Harrison Jr., he's been a bit of a disappointment. Like you said, he's still solid, but he's not been the player I think we thought he would have been so far.
Can I just say one thing before we get any further with the other receivers? Is like with Tate, the Browns haven't had a receiver in the last 10 years that's been reliable. That
is correct.
Like from the jump. Like Carnell Tate comes in here and from day one, like the guy's got probably gonna be 1,000-yard receiver next year for the Browns if the Browns draft him. Lemon, it's just, from all accounts that I've read, the other guys that have covered. I didn't cover any USC games this year, so I haven't watched any tape on him. But he's more of a developmental prospect, like super athletic, great size, like all the things you look for in a receiver and think that a number one receiver can be. But it's more like maybe year 2 or 3. Whereas I think Tate comes in right now and gives you some reliability, and they may say he's a little steadier than the Mekhi Lemon. You know what I'm saying right now. Yeah. So, I for the Browns, like they need reliability, like not a project at receiver.
That it's a good point, and as you said, Ohio State receivers, if nothing else, and I totally believe this will be the case with him as well, are certainly ready to play in the NFL, no doubt. Jackson Smith and Jigba taken 20th overall in 2023. Obviously, he's become a superstar. In 2022, wide receivers go 10 and 11 with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, both very good. Both could be superstars. Both may be borderline superstars. They've both been in kind of bad situations. So those are the wide receivers taken since there was no wide receivers in 2021. Obviously, even if you go back, KJ Hill in 2020, but he was a 7th-round pick, so I'm not going to talk about him. Terry McLaurin in 2019. Paris Campbell wasn't a good player, 2nd-round pick in 2019, but that was before Brian Hartline anyway. So since Brian Hartline's been here, it's been a very strong track record of success. I don't think, obviously, that's not the reason alone to take Carnell Tate. And if the Browns believe in Mekhi Lemon more, then okay, I'll give it an opportunity. But I'm with you ultimately. I'll be surprised if Carnell Tate is not the pick at 6 if they go wide receiver. Now, they may decide to go offensive line. Who knows? But if the pick is wide receiver and it's not Carnell Tate, I'll be surprised. We shall see.
Same.
The rest of this, so with the 24th pick, it was Field Yates. He went with Caden Proctor out of Alabama. He does say that he doubts Caden Proctor will be there at 24. But if he is, it's a steal for the Browns. The guy's apparently huge. I don't know he's 6'7", 366. That is a big human being.
It's a big boy.
They also have the Browns doubling down on offensive linemen. With the 24th pick, they have him taking a tackle. And then with the 39th pick, they have him taking Emmanuel Pregnon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. He's a guard from Oregon.
I would have pronounced it. Yeah.
Yeah. 6'5", 318. So I will say this, Dustin. I love the idea of the Browns having two offensive linemen and a wide receiver after the first three picks. I could live with two wide receivers and one offensive lineman, but wide receiver and the offensive line are still the biggest needs for the Browns, besides obviously the quarterback situation, which we don't know yet, and they're probably not going to address that here. But those positions need a lot of work, and so if the value fits and they're able to take three wide receivers / O linemen with the first two picks, I'd be pretty happy with that.
There's no doubt. I actually like this a lot. You know, you can certainly sub in and sub out some of these players like Tate instead of Lemon.
Sure.
Obviously, that's I think where you and I would go.
Yeah.
But in terms of these tackles, like, come on. We're not experts on offensive tackles.
Yeah. Who knows? Let's just hope they get it right. One other pick I'll just mention, and then we'll move on to the Guardians. They do have the Browns. Matt Miller has the third-round pick for the Browns, which is the 70th pick, and he has them going defense for the first time at 70 with a cornerback named Keith Abney II out of Arizona State. So, yeah, I mean, if the Browns, that is the one position where they could use some more depth, especially because both their starting corners, they don't really have a slot corner at this point. Emerson's not a slot corner, and he's a free agent. Nobody signed him yet. Obviously, he's coming off injury. All right, let's switch it up, Dustin, from the NFL to Major League Baseball. Last night, special night in L.A. Not only did the Guardians win to improve their record to 4-3 on the early season, you don't want to get carried away about that, but to go 4-3 on a road trip to start the year where you played a World Series contender in the Mariners and the World Series contender in the Dodgers, take split 4 with the Mariners and take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. To me, that's a great road trip. And what really stood out yesterday, of course, was the performance of Gavin Williams, who's been my favorite pitcher on the Guardians for a while now. And he was absolutely lights out. I don't know if folks realize, they weren't on that late yesterday. So, most of the games have been like 10 o'clock. So I don't know how many people have been watching. But Gavin Williams, 7 innings, just 85 pitches. I would have liked to see him start the 8th, but okay. Allowed 2 hits, 3 walks, no runs, 10 strikeouts against what is arguably the best lineup in baseball in the Dodgers. The one threat they had against him, if you were watching, top of the 7th, the Dodgers got the bottom of the lineup on Andy Paez, who was their number 8 hitter and the only guy to get a hit off of Gavin. He had both hits off of Gavin Williams and 3 hits total. He gets a hit. Alex Freeland then walks on a 3-2 pitch. So at the time, it was 2-0 in the in the bottom of the 7th. 2-0 Guardians. First and second, nobody out, with Ohtani, Tucker, Betts, and Freeman coming up. And I thought that Stephen Vogt might take Gavin Williams out. He didn't. He gets Ohtani to ground into a double play. It was a really nice turn by Gabby Arias at short, 4-6-3. And then he gets Kyle Tucker. I can't remember. I think he popped him up. I can't remember how he got the final out. But he got him out. And to get out of that jam, Guardians tack on 2 more in the top of the 8th on a home run by Jose. And then the bullpen finishes it up. But that was a special performance yesterday by Gavin Williams, Dustin.
There's no doubt. And the thing that's interesting about, this Guardians team, as they've, again, I mean, they win this game, but they score 4 runs. Like their offense is certainly, now they played good teams and good pitching. So it could come back to, their offense could wake up here when they start playing like, Atlanta and St. Louis and the Royals and what have you over the next couple of weeks. But that was a strong performance. And this team needs pitching. They've always had really good pitching. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like every year we've had somebody who's like in the mix for the Cy Young.
Yeah.
I mean, that last night was real stuff from Gavin. Commands there, obviously.
Yeah.
He's a frontline starter, dude. And I'm impressed with it. And, I've got concerns about the team. And
sure.
one of the big concerns is like Jose Ramirez right now is like struggling.
Yeah. Well, he had a home run late yesterday, so hopefully that gets him going. Kyle Manzardo struggling.
Only thing he's done all year.
Yeah, Manzardo has struggled, and Cade Smith has struggled. Gave up another run yesterday on a home run to Freddie Freeman. But, yeah, for them to be 4-3 on this road trip.
Very impressive. I mean, dude,
yeah.
I thought they were like a 500 team going into the season, like at the end of the year. So to be 500 or above 500 rather,
yeah,
after facing, two of the better teams in the league, like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, they got one more tough series against the Cubs coming up at home. That's the home openers tomorrow.
Hope they get it in this weekend, man.
Yeah, I'm going. I got tickets for Saturday's game. Aaron and I are going.
Sweet.
So hopefully at least Friday and Saturday. I think Friday and Saturday look decent. So Sunday's questionable certainly. But after that, the schedule lightens up. You got Kansas City, you got Atlanta. Well, Atlanta's okay, but their pitching is so big. Their whole rotation's on the injured list right now. And then St. Louis, who actually played a good series against the Mets, but I expect them to be very bad. So we'll see. But, yeah, they've faced nothing but good pitching so far because the Mariners staff is excellent. The Dodgers staff is excellent. They're going to face 3 good pitchers against the Cubs as well. And even their first game against the Royals, it's supposed to be Cole Reagans, who's pretty good. Once you get to Atlanta and St. Louis and even Baltimore, the pitching not as good with those 3 teams. So maybe the offense will come around. But the offense hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been great. But the pitching outside of the last game in Seattle where they lost 8-0.
Yeah, that was just that one inning kind of got away from them, and then it just spiraled with the bullpen.
Yeah, but in the Dodger series, they gave up 7 runs to this Dodger lineup.
Yeah, I mean that lineup is. I mean they're the favorites to win the World Series. To 3-peat, dude.
Yeah. And obviously be a packed house on Friday. I'll be curious for the Saturday game. As I said, I'm going Saturday. What the crowd looks like. Obviously, the Cubs bring some fans on the road. Will there be a lot of Guardians fans? Because the team's off to a pretty good start. Maybe it depends how they do the Friday, the home opener tomorrow. It'll be Joey Cantillo and Cade Horton. Good matchup of young pitchers on Friday. Slade Ciccone and Shota Imanaga on Saturday. And Parker Messick, who is great against the Dodgers, will pitch against the Cubs and Edward Cabrera on Sunday. So good pitching matchups. Should be a fun weekend of baseball. Be good to see baseball here. It's going to be warm the next couple of days, and it gets cold again on Sunday. So, we'll see. I know people are a little up in arms because you had like 4 days in a row where the Guardians games were on different channels, with Peacock. Did we discuss the Peacock thing?
I can't
remember.
No, we did not. And you can explain it if you want to. I know they're supposed to be tomorrow locally on Channel 3, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow's game is on Channel 3, so make sure you check it out on WKYC, which is cool. What I love about the games on Peacock, I don't know if you've seen one yet, Dustin. What they did was...
I've not.
So the play-by-play guy is...
Oh, no, yeah, sorry. Yes, yeah. I did see it because I watched Sunday night with Rick Manning.
Right.
And I love the local analyst, yes.
Excellent. The play-by-play guy is... Why did I forget the play-by-play guy?
Jason Benetti's great.
Benetti, right. Who's amazing, as you say. And then they had a Mariners analyst and a Guardians analyst, which is great. So then when fans are like, they're being biased. Well, you got one analyst from each team, which I thought was really cool. And what I love doing... A lot of times, I don't always do this. Sometimes I just sit and watch it on TV. But a lot of times, I'm watching the games. Like last night, I was watching the Guardians game on my computer, with my MLB app. And what I can do is, when I'm watching the Guardians game, I can choose either the audio from the game, the TV game, or what I did for a lot of the game yesterday was listen to the TAM audio. So I got the radio broadcast while watching the game, and it's synced up. So I love that.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you could do it on the MLB app, which is how you watch the games.
So you have the MLB app on your TV?
I do have it on my TV. I happened to watch it last night on my computer. I just felt like watching on my computer. But,
okay. But you can do the same thing on your TV app?
You know what? I haven't tried it on the TV, but I assume you can.
That to me would be cool to watch it on your big screen.
You know what? I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'll probably do that tomorrow.
Okay,
I'll do that.
Yeah,
I'll try it out.
You gotta let me know if that works.
Yeah. Because that was a really cool feature. So I want.
Do you subscribe to the MLB app?
Yeah, because I pay for
the Cubs too.
Yeah, and you got to pay for the Guardians. So I pay for the Guardians, and then I pay for the MLB. I think combined for all of it is like, I want to say it's like 150 for the year, which is pretty good to be able to get every game for $150 for the season. I mean, that's less than $1 a day. And for me, it's worth it.
What are you trying to help a kid who's like a third world country?
Yeah,
less than
just
$1
a day. The cup of coffee.
For less than a cup of coffee.
Yeah, right. All right. Last thing, let's hit on the Cavs. The Cavs, if they win tonight, will clinch a playoff spot. And you say, well, what's the big deal? We know they're going to the playoffs. But all right, it becomes a bit. By the way, the Cavs would have clinched a playoff spot last night if the Sixers had lost to Washington. Did you see the final score of that game by any chance?
No, dude. Actually, I was so tired last night. I went to bed at like 9:30.
The Sixers beat Washington 153 to 131.
I feel like the scores this year have been outrageous. There's been so many quarters I've seen have been like in the 70s, like total points. It's insane.
The Sixers scored 80 points in the second half in this game. So it was kind of nuts.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they had, anyway, Paul George had 39 points for them. But so if the Cavs win tonight, it's West Coast. But you've been staying up late, probably most of you watching the Guardians. So now you stay up late tonight, watch the Cavs, see if they can clinch. Obviously, they will eventually. Cavs have 6 games left on the season. They are the 4 seed right now. The 3 seed is still very much in play. I don't know if you want the 3 seed because then you'd have to play the Celtics in the second round. If I'm the Cavs, I'm not losing on purpose, but I'd much rather play the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals than in the Eastern Conference semifinals. So I have no interest in trying to push for that 3 seed.
I said this yesterday.
Yeah.
I want the Celtics to play another series, like
4
or 5 games, and like Tatum, who's coming off injury, needs to go through these tough battles in the playoffs before he faces the Cavs. Like I don't want the guy to get hurt, but I want him to be a little bit worn down.
Right. And especially because the Celtics are not, are they going to get pushed in the first round? I don't know. It might be a sweep. It might be an easy series. But in the second round, Dustin, they're going to play probably the Knicks. So they're going to be pushed a lot more. Maybe that's a 5, 6, even 7-game series. Who the hell knows? So, and then, if you can't. Now, listen, give the Pistons credit. They're without their best player. They're still playing good basketball. It's very impressive. JB's got to be the coach of the year, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't think that he would have worked here the way he's worked in Detroit.
Yeah.
But what a remarkable job, and what a great coach he is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
Absolutely.
The turnaround. I mean, Detroit hasn't been good for like 20 years.
I know. He's done a great job. Great. All right, let's go through the chat to wrap things up. Last call with the Bull and Fox emojis. The truth hurts. Go Guards, go Bull. Thank you. Corey says, please tell Mikey McNuggets how to pronounce Jim Tomei. I will tell him. B Skrills, go Guardians. Cluex says, man, it's always a good day when Bull and Fox are together. B Skrills is thinking about moving to Florida or Arizona. Yeah. Let's see. Mark says, great road trip by the Guardians.
Absolutely.
Z says, what's up, guys? Sending love from Canada. What's up, Z? Sammy Hill. Pajes is probably the best 8-hole hitter in the league. He's a good player. Yeah. Wes Fan Man, thanks for talking Guardians. Others are still talking Shador and that stuff. DC Clee looking thinner. Thank you, B Skrills. I appreciate it too. Wes Fan says Jose will be fine. Too busy, too early to panic. B Skrills, I agree. He'll be fine. Let's see. 400th career double for Jose. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Jose's about to become the all-time games played leader in Cleveland baseball history. I think he's just a couple of games away. When that happens, he will be the only active player in Major League Baseball to be the all-time games played leader for his franchise, which is pretty cool. So there you go. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks for watching and listening. Thanks to Levi, Alex, and Drew for all producing today. We'll be back next week, regular schedule on Tuesday and Thursday. Until then, we'll talk to you next time. Where else but right here in the bullpen with Bull and Fox, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.
Peace.